Husker Vision presents Decade of Dominance. The story of the 1995 Nebraska football team. Decade of Dominance is sponsored in part by Walgreens. In the long and storied history of Nebraska football, 1995 was a season unlike any other, for it began as the new year was fulfilling the championship promise of the year gone by. On a perfect night in Miami's Orange Bowl, the Huskers, the players, the coaches, and fans capped a perfect season by beating the hometown Hurricanes to win the school's third national title. It was a victory that poured out pride and emotion from every Big Red heart in the heartland and throughout America. From the electricity in the NU locker room to the outpouring of love from the faithful who followed the team, what took place under the stars that night touched off a championship celebration that comes only with being a part of Nebraska football and being the best.
It's unbelievable. Greatest feeling I could ever dream of. Crowd, everything, you know. I love these guys. I sold my body for them, and they sold it for me, and we came out winners. That's all. Did it for Coach Osborne especially.
I know you were real disappointed a month ago when you didn't get the hardship. This kind of makes up for it, doesn't it?
Yes, it makes up for it. Nah, I don't care about the hardship. I got my national championship.
From the moon over Miami to the next day's sunshine of Lincoln, the whirlwind tour for the nation's newest champions was well underway. While more than 20,000 Husker fans had turned the Orange Bowl into a sea of red, countless thousands more lined the streets of the capital city and packed the Bob Devaney Sports Center to welcome their heroes home. It was an unforgettable scene that commemorated a national championship for all of Nebraska.
I'd like to thank you very much. I know you've been here a long time, and it's certainly taken a lot of patience on your part. About 22 years of it, I guess.
For the '94 Huskers, the national title was providing experiences for a lifetime. It was a celebration to savor, each moment one to remember. One of the most memorable was a trip to Washington, D.C., where the newly crowned kings of college football met the President of the United States.
I want to thank this team and this coach, not only for winning the national championship, that's obviously a great honor, but for the way that it was won and the character and teamwork and spirit that Coach Osborne has always displayed and that this team displayed.
After the White House, it was back to our house for the biggest and best party since winning the title. There, the players received the championship rings in grand style as more than 40,000 adoring Big Red fans gathered at Memorial Stadium for one last salute to the '94 Huskers. With rings in hand and the trophies in place, and the memories of '94 never to be forgotten, the focus then shifted to becoming the first team in 40 years to put together back-to-back unbeaten national championship seasons. And while the Huskers spent their summer vacation with sights set on another national title, they also knew all eyes would be on them as the team to beat.
We knew that teams are going to be doing their best to knock us off. We have like a big bullseye on us, on our backs, and people are going to be shooting for the target.
I've never seen, so many guys as focused as they are to get back to that same position, being in the 1-2 spot where we can play for a national championship.
But being the team to beat is nothing unusual for Nebraska football. In fact, it's business as usual, and just like they had done in '94, the Huskers finished business again. Nebraska was #1 at the beginning of the year and is #1 at its end. That's what makes the 1995 season so unique. It wasn't a season for the Huskers to become champions. They already were champions. '95 was a season to stay at the top, to defend their title, and to continue Nebraska football's decade of dominance. The last day of August was one Nebraska fans had been waiting for since the start of the year. Stillwater, Oklahoma was the site as the Huskers kicked off the 1995 season against Oklahoma State on a Thursday night before a national television audience.
Been a long time to wait, but now it's time to bring the heat.
With just 8 returning starters from last year's national championship team, there were a lot of new faces on both sides of the ball. The offensive and defensive lines faced the biggest rebuilding challenges, where 7 of 9 players were starting their first game. But it didn't take long for the new starters to begin making a name for themselves. On Oklahoma State's second play, freshman linebacker Jay Foreman and junior safety Mike Minner provided the 1-2 punch to nail David Thompson on a 4-yard loss. Then on third down, Jared Tomich pushed the Cowboys back even further.
Tony Jones drops to throw. Under heavy pressure, he's sacked. They got him for a big-time loss. Jared Tomich all over him.
That first series, I was pretty nervous. The butterflies were really going, to be thrown out there, in the thick of things. It was really exciting, though, and then as the game progressed, I started settling down, and everything started clicking really good, and started having a lot of fun.
Offensively, the Huskers' rebuilt line proved early on that they could indeed clear the way for NU's talented backfield. A vintage 12-play, 72-yard drive on Nebraska's first possession resulted in NU's first touchdown of the season. Lawrence Phillips did the honors from 3 yards out as the O-line opened up a huge hole.
When we were going on that first drive and racking up the yards and blocking people and clearing holes for the backs, we were just having a great time out there, and we'd get back to the huddle with a lot of enthusiasm. We were just having a blast out there.
The Blackshirts continued their domination, holding OSU to just 1 yard of offense in the first quarter. And then early in the second period, junior college transfer Terrell Farley showed that he was indeed a prime-time player.
It's intercepted by Nebraska. Terrell Farley's got the ball inside the 5. He's in there. Touchdown! Touchdown! Touchdown!
I guess the quarterback didn't see me because it looked like he threw it dead into my arms, and just taking it to the end zone felt great, I felt like dancing, but I would have got the flag or something on me.
Following Terrell's interception, it was the offense's turn for a big play.
Phillips across the 30, 35, 40. He may go. He's inside the 45, the 30. He's going to go. Lawrence Phillips all the way home, 80 yards for the touchdown.
Meanwhile, OSU quarterback Tony Jones was having one very long night. The defense continued its relentless pressure as Charlie McBride's gang rang up 3 first-half sacks. In the season's first 30 minutes of football, the second-ranked Huskers showed the nation that they were indeed an explosive group. NU went into the locker room at halftime with a 36-7 lead. As the second half began, Air Nebraska took off. Tommy Frazier went up top to Reggie Ball for a 76-yard strike.
Reggie Ball's going to go all the way home. Touchdown, Reggie Ball.
The 66 players who made the trip to OSU all saw action. Scott Saltzman made the most of his playing time with a fourth-quarter sack, while the most anticipated debut was made by freshman Amon Green. The top running back recruit in the country in 1995, Green gained 18 yards on his first ever carry. Then the Omaha native exploded into the end zone for his first touchdown as a Husker.
I saw how close I was getting to the end zone. My eyes got real big. I don't know if y'all saw that, but my eyes was real big. And I don't care who was there in front of me. Nobody was going to stop me getting that end zone.
Nebraska's 64-21 win was the school's 22nd straight victory over Oklahoma State. It was a great beginning to the Huskers' title defense. Questions were already being answered, especially in the offensive line. With 4 starters gone from a year ago, including 3 to the NFL, the Big Red got out of the gate in a big way with more than 500 yards rushing.
I think we were able to erase some of the people's questions that they had about the offensive line. I know it's only one game that's under our belts yet, and we have a lot of games to go and a lot of things to prove, but I think that was certainly a starting point for us.
Usually small-town kids don't come to play a big Division I school like this, so this is really like a dream come true for me, just to get out there and play for the Huskers, and it's just great.
I was on the field for the first time playing college football with Nebraska. And it's been a childhood dream, and I just couldn't believe it. I was out there.
A crowd of over 75,000, including many dressed in red, and another national television audience were on hand as the Huskers traveled to Big Ten country to take on Michigan State.
It's going to be a good day today. Got good weather, good atmosphere. Got our fans down here in the end zone. We won't disappoint you. It's going to be a good one.
Legendary Nebraska coach Bob Devaney, who began his Hall of Fame career at Michigan State, spoke to the team in the locker room prior to the game. Devaney was the man who led Nebraska to national prominence in the 60s and early 70s. And against the Spartans, the 1995 Huskers played and won like the Devaney teams of old and like the Osborne teams of today by dominating in the trenches. On its first two possessions of the game, Nebraska jumped out to an early 10-0 lead. But Michigan State countered to make it 10-7 after one period. The second quarter began with concern as Tommy Frazier left the game with a severe leg bruise. But just as he had in 1994, Brooke Behringer stepped in and the Huskers didn't miss a beat. Behringer led NU to 10 more points in the second quarter to make it 20-7 at the half. The teams traded field goals to open the third quarter. Freshman Chris Brown nailed his third three-pointer of the day. And then it was time for the Huskers to dominate. First on offense, where Lawrence Phillips scored twice in the third quarter to put the game out of reach.
Great move, 30, the 25, left sideline. He's going to go. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown.
While Phillips was putting the finishing touches on his 200-yard day, the Black Shirts were putting the Spartans away. With Michigan State reeling and trying to play catch-up, the Huskers' relentless defensive pressure then intensified on Spartan quarterback Tony Banks, who was hit and hurried and sacked numerous times under the big red waves that crashed through to him. Mike Minner led the way defensively with 6 solo tackles and his first interception. Having missed almost all of the '94 season with a knee injury, it was an especially satisfying game for the junior from Oklahoma.
It's been real fun getting out there and hitting again and playing in a football game. My main goal is to get there and play in the national championship game. And, I'm just fortunate that I got players around me that have the same goal and the same hunger I got.
In the fourth quarter, the Huskers again showed their depth at I-back. First freshman Amon Green sprinted down the sidelines from 57 yards out. James Sims then followed with an 80-yard run as Nebraska ran away with the win. Sims' run typified NU's dominance. The Huskers cruised to a 50-10 win over Michigan State by rushing for a whopping 552 yards. Meanwhile, the Spartans managed just 37 against the Nebraska Black Shirts.
One of our main goals this year is to be the most dominant team in the nation, and then, it starts with the two lines, offense and defense, and knocking people around and knocking people down.
When we go in and play a Big Ten school like Michigan State, we can look back and compare them to how they would rate up against a Colorado or Oklahoma or even a Kansas or Kansas State, and I think it really goes to show how dominant the Big 8 really has become.
It was one in the trenches. I mean, it was fun to go out there and play because Michigan State, they're known for being like us, big and physical, and it was just, who's got more guts and, who's got the bigger heart, and it came out that we did.
There's nothing quite like playing at Memorial Stadium, and the '95 home opener was bound to be something special as the Huskers made their first home appearance since winning the national title. With the sea of red awaiting them each week, the Huskers' entrance has ranked among the best. But with the addition of the Husker Vision big screens, the Walk of Champions has become an experience unlike any other in college football. And this season, an animation commemorating the 1994 National Championship electrified the crowd even more. And for freshmen, there's nothing quite like the first walk as a Husker into Memorial Stadium.
I finally got my opportunity to walk out of the tunnel and hear the crowd go crazy, and it's unbelievable.
The first time you do it, it's just, I mean, you just like, it's another you just can't describe it. You just get goosebumps on top of goosebumps. I mean, it's just unreal. I mean, you're already ready to play, and then making that walk just gets you more ready to play. Definitely, I believe we have the best walkout on the field out of any college team in the nation.
It makes me feel really good to be here, to have the N on my helmet. That, to me, means more than anything right now. Just to be here, to be part of the team, to be part of the school, to be part of the atmosphere here, it means more to me than just about anything other than my family.
It had been a long week of adversity leading up to the Arizona State game for the Huskers. But the team took to the field unified around their coach and focused on the task at hand.
There was a lot of emotion in the locker room before that game, and I think back to Christian talking about how Coach Osborne is more or less a father figure to every single one of us on the team, and we really want to go out there and show him that we really appreciate everything that he's done for the program and especially for us.
With Lawrence Phillips sidelined, Clinton Childs started for the first time in his career. And from the game's first play, the senior from Omaha made it known this would be his day.
40, 30, first play from scrimmage. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown.
Clinton's touchdown came in the first 11 seconds of the game, which made it the fastest score in modern Husker football history.
Drawing first blood, in 11 seconds. Had to have, their tails tucked a little bit, but if we can do that to every football team and let them know that we're coming out and we mean business every time that we come out, then that's what we want to do.
Childs' run was a hint of things to come in a game that saw the Huskers put together a record-setting first half. On NU's second possession, Jeff Makovica paved the way for an Ahman Green touchdown. Then it was Tommy Frazier's turn as he ran through a pair of Sun Devils on a 15-yard score. Later in the first quarter, Childs showed his versatility by throwing a 34-yard pass to Clester Johnson.
Childs over the middle. He's got Clester. It is complete.
On the next play, Frazier took to the air and hit a wide-open John Vedral from 27 yards out. Jeff Makovica found a seam in the ASU defense and rumbled 13 yards to pay dirt on the final play of the first quarter to make it 35-7, and the Huskers weren't about to slow down. Childs opened the second quarter like he had the first with another long TD run.
Childs behind the block of Makovica inside the 35, the 30, 25, the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Clinton Childs.
Clinton would finish the day with a career-high 143 yards on just 12 carries. The Blackshirts then turned in a big play of their own as Michael Booker grabbed his first interception to set up yet another Husker touchdown. 2 plays later, Frazier went up top to Clester Johnson.
As soon as I got past the line of scrimmage, I was looking back, and Tommy was looking right at me. So when I caught it, and one guy kind of shanked off of me, I saw the other guy coming, and when he hit me, I thought maybe I was going to go down, but then I looked up, and it was about 2 or 3 yards away. I was like, he got to come with me. I was getting in there.
The only time the Huskers didn't score in the first half, Jesse Cush unloaded a fantastic 74-yard punt, which Jared Tomich downed on the ASU one. Nebraska went on to score 2 more touchdowns in the first half for a total of 63 points. The most ever scored in 30 minutes of football by a Nebraska team.
Pretty much anything that Coach Osborne called, we ran to perfection, and that's pretty much what we wanted. But we just went out and did what we thought that we could do. We ran the ball at them well. Then when we had to throw the ball, we passed the ball well.
First of all, it was a little something to help Coach Osborne ease all of the distractions that we were having throughout that week. And we knew that we had a pretty good offense, but, I mean, 63 points is really unheard of in the first half.
While Coach Osborne pulled the reins back on his powerful offense in the second half, it didn't prevent the defense from adding a touchdown of its own.
It's intercepted by Nebraska, and it's Terrell Farley. Farley in there for the touchdown!
Later in the fourth quarter, Lance Brown made the most of his first career catch by grabbing this 39-yarder from Matt Turman. Lance capped his feet with an equally impressive flip on the sideline. The Huskers' performance was mind-boggling as they beat a tough Pac-10 team 77-28. But was this the Nebraska offense at its very best, or merely the tip of the iceberg?
I think it's more of a tip to showing people that this is a powerful offense. If we go out and just stay focused and do the things that we know how to do, I think it's going to be hard for any team to stop us from scoring.
In Nebraska, there is nothing quite like game day in Lincoln on a crisp autumn afternoon.
Football special! 56!
It's a time when Memorial Stadium comes to life with thousands of Big Red fans who have traveled from all parts of the country to be a part of Nebraska football. But for opponents like Pacific, a trip to Lincoln can often be a long day on the gridiron. Damon Benning, who had been hampered by a bad hamstring in the first 3 games of the season, was starting at I-back in place of Clinton Childs, who was nursing a sore knee. The first 5 times that Damon carried the ball, he gained 98 yards and scored 3 touchdowns.
Snap to Frazier, option left, tosses out to Benning, swings it out wide inside the 15, the 10, the 5, touchdown again. Damon Benning.
I think I showed other people and I proved to myself that I was able to deal with adversity and still prepare well and come out and play well.
Benning's 3 touchdowns all came in the game's first 15 minutes. In fact, the Husker offense rushed for 230 yards in the first quarter alone.
Our lines really come together, and it was nice to get some of them first games so that everybody could gel and everybody get some more confidence. And I think that we can be as good as we've ever had if everybody keeps putting everything together and we keep improving week by week.
It's hard to believe that a team playing this well would see a need to improve. But it's that attitude of striving to make the best even better, which has made Nebraska the premier program in college football. The Black Shirts were also striving for improvement, and they got it against Pacific, evidenced by the strong play by guys like Jason Peter, Doug Coleman, and Jay Foreman. The Husker offense scored twice more on their first 2 possessions of the second quarter to build a comfortable 35-0 lead at the half.
Sims inside the 5, diving for the goal line, touchdown!
The first play from scrimmage in the second half was another great indicator why the 95 Huskers were far and away the top rushing team in America. As Benning broke loose on a 62-yard run, look who was blocking 50 yards downfield. Offensive tackle Chris Dishman.
You know, I'll never forget that play because I wish I would have cut earlier, cut the guy, and maybe we just got a chance to put it in, but I tried to run fast as him, and there's no way.
Those guys, they block downfield all day. I mean, they want to score, you know, every couple of times the back touches the ball, and that's how they get after, and that's a compliment to them and Coach Tenneper.
Well, you look at every play that you want to break a touchdown. We've just been fortunate the last 4 games that we broke a lot of them, you know. Every play we go out there and try to execute as perfect as we can.
NU scored on its first 2 possessions of the second half. First, Tommy Frazier made it 42-0. And then Amon completed the scoring with a 13-yard TD. Amon had 112 yards on the day, while Damon Benning registered 173 on just 10 carries. A total of 102 Huskers saw action as NU beat Pacific 49-7. The Huskers recorded the 5th best offensive output ever with 731 total yards. And And equally impressive, the Big Red had at least 660 yards of total offense in each of their first 4 games of the season.
The way the line is playing and the way the receivers are blocking downfield and the way the tight ends are playing right now, our execution is, I think, phenomenal for this point of the season.
Washington State came to Lincoln on the last day of September with high hopes of upsetting number 2 Nebraska. The Cougars had lots of confidence after beating nationally ranked UCLA the previous weekend.
One of their defensive ends, Dwayne Sanders, he said he predicted a victory. And it's the first time since I've been here that a team came in, predicting a victory, in our stadium. I respect what he says, and it gave me a little motivation. I think it gave our whole team a little motivation.
The Huskers drove 76 yards on their opening possession of the game, and Tommy Frazier set the tone with this block on a Clester Johnson reverse.
We expect that. We expect 11 players every time. We expect Tommy to do that.
NU's first drive, however, was halted because of a fumble. And 2 plays later, the Cougars shocked the 76,000 Husker faithful in Memorial Stadium when Frank Madu broke free on an 87-yard touchdown run. Washington State led 7-0. Amazingly, it would be the only time during the 1995 regular season that Nebraska would trail in a football game.
We knew when we came off the sideline, we knew it was just a fluke play against us, and there wasn't anybody down. As a matter of fact, we rallied about that play. We just said, hey, it's going to happen to any team, and if we're going to be a great football team, we got to look past it and go on and just shut them out the rest of the game.
For the first time all season, the Huskers failed to score in the first quarter. But the Black Shirts were not giving up any ground either.
The reverse play, left side, take the double reverse maneuver. He's tackled for a big loss.
Late in the first quarter, fullback Brian Schuster got the offense on track with 2 straight runs totaling 33 yards. Then, on the first play of the second quarter, Amon Green continued the drive, darting around the corner on a 24-yard run. That set up Tommy Frazier, who scored the first rushing touchdown of the season against Washington State's highly regarded defense. And it was only the beginning. In fact, NU scored on 4 of its 5 possessions of the second quarter. Frazier's running highlighted an 11-play, 66-yard drive, and just 5 minutes into the second quarter, Nebraska went in front to stay.
Tommy takes the snap, runs the option to the right side, big alley, inside the 15, the 10, the 5, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown!
Amon Green, who finished the game with a career-high 176 yards rushing on just 13 carries, set up score number 3 with this 36-yard run. Moments later, Chris Brown nailed a 33-yard field goal to make it 17-7 Huskers. As the first half came to a close, another Green run set up yet another Brown field goal.
He's to the 45, bounces off a tackler, 40, 35, strip on, 30, 25, 20, touchback inside the 10, Amon Green.
The Huskers led at half 20-7. Amon Green scored the only touchdown of the third quarter on this 3-yard run. And then Chris Brown used his arm, not his foot, on this conversion.
It's a fake. It's snapped directly to Chris Brown. The pass into the end zone. It's a 2-point conversion. It's good.
The game appeared to be well in hand entering the fourth quarter, with the Huskers ahead 28-7. Washington State, however, added a pair of touchdowns in the final period to make things interesting. But the Huskers put the game away midway through the fourth quarter when Frazier connected with Mark Gilman for a 35-yard touchdown. Late in the game, with the Huskers running out the clock, Amon Green endeared himself to the fans and his teammates with one of the most memorable runs of the season. With 8 Cougars on his back, Amon refused to go down.
Me personally, that's one of the most fired up moments that I've had here. Just watch him do that. And that definitely lit a fire under me. And I know it did the crowd and the rest of my teammates.
The Huskers beat Washington State 35-21. And despite giving up 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns, it was a solid outing for the Blackshirts. Inyu recorded 11 tackles behind the line, resulting in 48 yards in losses. The Huskers also had 8 quarterback hurries. Sophomore rush-in Grant Wistrom led the way with 4 tackles for losses.
Washington State stepped up to the mic and they kind of, said that, hey, we're going to play with you and we're going to beat you. And, we accepted that as a challenge personally. And as a defense, they made a few comments that they were going to move the ball and score on us. So we took that as a challenge too.
Senior linebacker Doug Coleman started in place of Phil Ellis, who broke his foot in practice. And Coleman responded with a team-high 6 tackles.
We needed a game like this where we would play a team that was tough for 4 quarters. The games before this, we really weren't challenged all that much, and I think defensively we really needed somebody to push us for 4 quarters.
With the non-conference schedule behind them, it was now time for the Huskers to set their sights on a 5th straight Big 8 title. Missouri had the unenviable task of taking on a Nebraska team whose Blackshirts were not in a giving mood. After yielding 21 points to Washington State, the NU defense wanted to make a statement in the Missouri game.
They were overdue for one, and I think they really wanted to go out and prove to the nation that they could be a great defense if they really buckled down and put their heads together.
The thing that I remember the most is that we as a defensive unit came together and we put everything together and pretty much shut them down the whole day, played all 4 quarters, and even though we had some of the younger units in there, we still didn't give up too many yards and we didn't give up any points, and it was our first shutout of the year, and it was our first big stride towards where we want to
be. The NU defense dominated Missouri, holding the Tigers to just 120 yards of total offense. Mizzou entered Nebraska territory only twice the entire game, and both possessions ended with Husker interceptions. Midway through the first quarter, the Blackshirts gave the Huskers great field position at the Tiger 31-yard line. From there, it took Tommy Frazier and company just 2 plays to score.
Tommy on the keep, inside the 25, inside the 20, great move, another one, inside the 15, the 10, the 5, touchdown, Tommy Frazier! With Nebraska leading 7-0 in the second quarter, the defense continued to come up with big plays. Senior co-captain Tony Beelan picked off his first pass of the season.
I saw the ball go in the air, so I ran a little faster and just happened to get in my hands, and then I saw this open field. It's something I haven't saw in a long time, so I just ran and did what I could with the ball.
And on the 43-yard return, Tony kind of looked like the quarterback he used to be.
Well, that Tony Beelan, he's gone.
Later in the second quarter, Jared Tomich set the Huskers up in great shape with a fumble recovery at the Mizzou 27-yard line. 4 straight carries by Amon Green put the ball at the 1-yard line. Tommy Frazier then snuck it in to make the score 14-0. The Huskers took just 5 plays to cover 64 yards on their next possession. Jeff Makovica picked up 28 yards on 2 straight carries. Frazier followed by hitting Mark Gilman on a 33-yard strike. Tommy then kept it on the option from a yard out to make it 21-0. On the final play of the first half, the Huskers proved that it's better to be lucky and good.
Throws it down the middle, and it is a touchdown! Deflected off to John Bedwell into the hands of Brendan Holbein. A touchdown!
In the second half, the defense continued to frustrate the Tigers. Terrell Farley took the ball right off the foot of the Missouri punter for a safety, and the Huskers led 30-0. Following the free kick, it took the Huskers just 5 plays to get their 5th touchdown of the afternoon. Frazier and Gilman connected again for another big game. And then Amon Green capped his first career start by blasting in from 9 yards out to make it 36-0.
Missouri, Amon Green.
NU covered 58 yards on its next drive, mostly through the air. First, John Bedrell hauled in a perfect Frazier pass for 36 yards. Then Tommy eluded a heavy rush and spotted Sheldon Jackson in the back of the end zone for the first TD catch of his career. All told, Frazier was in on a career-best 5 touchdowns on the day, and in the process broke the Nebraska school record for total offense TDs with 64.
It gives me a lot of pride to know that I was able to come up Saturday to go out and break a couple of records that one of the great quarterbacks used to have here. But that's just something I really never thought about. I had no idea going to the game that I was only 5 touchdowns away.
This was a game for everyone to get involved in the Big Red's high-scoring act. Matt Turman's 1-yard run late in the third quarter made it 50-0. Meanwhile, the defensive reserves were not about to give up the shutout. That was evident when Luther Harden opened the fourth quarter with one of the biggest hits of the day.
Oh my, I'm still on cloud 9 for me. I can't even explain how it feels. I know I broke my remote control at home, rewinding and fast forwarding, trying to see the same play and hit, over and over again, because I'm like, that's me, and I actually did it. And now I'm looking forward to doing it again to somebody else.
Missouri quarterback Brandon Corso was sacked a total of 4 times in the fourth quarter.
Corso drops, fakes to give to the tailback, wants to throw, and he's knocked down for another sack, and this time it's Tad Kelsey. Drops to throw, a 3-step drop, pressure on, they got him again for a tackle for a loss.
The 57-0 shutout was a satisfying win for the entire team, and it also proved to be a good tune-up for the Huskers, who were facing a stretch in which 3 of their next 4 games would be against teams ranked in the nation's top 10.
I think the next couple of weeks is time for us to go out and show people that we're still the best team in the country. And we're going to go out there and try to show everyone that they don't want to be playing us on January 2nd.
The nation was tuned in for NU's 7th game of the season as the Huskers took the field against the 8th-ranked Kansas State Wildcats. It was a game in which something had to give. Nebraska, with its powerful ground game, led the nation in total offense, while the unbeaten Wildcats were the best in the country at stopping the run.
It ain't gonna happen today, baby!
On the Wildcats' second play of the game, though, it was the Nebraska defense who sent a message. Grant Wistrom let Matt Miller know that the black shirts meant business. And on the ensuing punt, Mike Fulman and Mike Rucker sent another message. We will rock you.
Fulman, 45-40, he's going to go! He is going to go all the way! Touchdown! Touchdown! Touchdown!
It made me feel good because, especially being that I transferred out here, I'm not on scholarship, and I'm out there playing, being able to contribute to the team. It just made me smile all night long.
It was Nebraska's first punt return for a touchdown in 7 years, and it was all set up by one devastating block.
I didn't think I hit him that hard. I remember hitting him, but I didn't think it was that hard. I went down to one knee, and one of my contacts was coming out, and I shut my eyes real quick, and then I just seen his helmet flying. And then that's when I got up, and then I just heard the crowd, and that's when I just got this tingle. I was hyped for probably about 20 minutes and it didn't come down.
Kansas State did strike back with a touchdown pass from Matt Miller to Kevin Lockett to pull within 1 at 7-6. But then it was time for the Huskers to show the nation that the defending national champs were again the team to beat in 1995. Lester Johnson took his game to new heights on this impressive 12-yard drive. Behind the punishing block of fullback Jeff McAvica, Amon Green gained 33 of his game-high 109 yards to set up the Huskers' second score. A score that came when the Huskers got a break. John Bedrell alertly fell on a loose ball for a touchdown, giving the Big Red a 14-6 lead. In the second quarter, the Huskers exploded for 3 more touchdowns. The first coming on a great throw by Tommy Frazier to Sheldon Jackson, who made an even better catch. Throughout the day, Frazier kept the Cats' attacking defense on the retreat with his unmatched versatility. A 23-yard sideline pass to Damon Benning opened up the middle for Amon Green to score on a 10-yard shovel pass to make it 28-6. The final touchdown of the half came courtesy of the NU defense as K-State tried a shovel pass of its own.
Shovel pass deflected, caught by Nebraska. It's going to be a touchdown! Touchdown for Luther Harton! It's a touchdown!
I came off and just tried to play my technique and saw no pressure and saw the running back coming up underneath, and I just got a hand on the ball and tipped it to Lou, and luckily he was there and was able to take it in.
That's the loudest I ever heard that crowd, and I was pumped up, and I saw my friends, and it was unbelievable.
Kansas State did mount a drive near the end of the second quarter, but Jared Tomich's 2 quarterback sacks and another big stop by John Hess brought the Wildcats' drive to a screeching halt.
27 seconds left before halftime. Snap to Miller. And he's rushed and he's knocked down by Jared Tomich again.
K-State has a reputation for, they like to talk a lot, and more than anything that just gets us fired up. And so we like to come out and really make sure that they know that they've played Nebraska when they go home that night. Yeah, I think Miller woke up Sunday morning and he knew that he was at Nebraska.
With Nebraska leading 35-6, Kansas State might have been hoping for a Husker letdown in the second half. But the Blackshirts were relentless in the third quarter. Michael Booker abruptly ended K-State's opening drive of the half.
Picked off by Nebraska, 40-45, Booker 50-45, and it is Michael Booker at the 41-yard line of Kansas State.
And on the Wildcats' next possession, Doug Coleman came up with back-to-back sacks. On the day, the Huskers sacked the Kansas State quarterbacks 9 times for 60 yards in losses. Nebraska added another touchdown in the third quarter when Tommy Frazier's fake froze the Wildcats, leaving John Vetterell all alone on a 32-yard TD.
We were on national TV, and we had a chance to prove to the nation that we were a force to be reckoned with. And coming out and getting on top of them 42-6, I thought was a big statement in itself.
Leading 42-6 going into the final period, Coach Osborne called on his reserves. But the Wildcats showed why they were unbeaten and ranked number 8 by scoring 3 quick touchdowns. With the score 42-25 and 6 minutes still left in the game, Coach Osborne sent the first team back in, and they responded with a touchdown to put an end to any thoughts K-State had of a miraculous comeback. Amon Green, on yet another shovel pass, displayed amazing balance to score the final touchdown of the day to make it 49-25. Fittingly, the game ended the same way it began, with a sack, this time by Mike Rucker. On this day, there was no doubt as to who had the dominant defense, as the Huskers held Kansas State to a minus 19 yards rushing.
People thought that Kansas State might win that one. A lot of people did, and defensively they thought that that they were going to come in and dominate, and we just wanted to show them that, you know, we do have a dominant defense.
And after throwing 4 touchdown passes against Kansas State, Tommy Frazier had established himself as one of the favorites to win the Heisman Trophy.
I don't see why not. Why not give him the Heisman Trophy? Because he deserves it. He's done it year in and year out, and they need to stop looking at so many stats, because he might not have all the stats, but we're winning.
Hostile environments.
Colorado, Nebraska. Since 1989, it's been the game that has decided the Big 8 title, and the 1995 matchup was no different.
Time to go to work. Here we are in Buffland, but we about to take over.
The Buffs took to Folsom Field ranked 7th in the country, looking to knock off the 2nd-ranked Huskers, something they had not been able to do since 1990. In his pregame speech, Coach Osborne talked to his team about the pride of Nebraska football and what it means to be a Husker in a game like this.
Also remember tradition. You know, you guys come from a long line of great teams, great players. Let's continue that tradition and make all those guys that are pulling for you, that have played on other teams, proud of what you do today.
Moments later, co-captain Aaron Graham sounded like a prophet in his pregame talk to the team.
This will decide it. We will be number one after this game. I promise you, we will be number one.
Meanwhile, Colorado's rookie head coach Rick Neuheisel had some psychological tactics of his own as he brought his buffs into the stadium through the CU student section right before kickoff.
We knew they were going to gun for us. We knew they were going to come for us with everything they got, all their emotion and stuff like that. And we weren't about to let us, be known as the team that lost to them in the last couple of years. So we put in that extra effort as well.
It didn't take long, though, for the Huskers to send Colorado fans on a Rocky Mountain low. After stopping CU on its initial possession, Nebraska needed just one play to score.
45, 40, 35, 30. He goes to the 20 to 15. He's going to go for the touchdown. Touchdown! Touchdown!
Less than 2 minutes into the game, Nebraska led 7-0, but Colorado would strike back. Midway through the first quarter, John Hessler lofted a perfect pass to Phil Savoy to tie it up. But on CU's next possession, the Blackshirts came through.
Over the middle, intercepted by Nebraska, 45, it's Farley, 40, 35, left sideline, 30, 25, 20, 15, and out of bounds goes Terrell Farley at the 13-yard line.
Following the interception, Green picked up 9 yards off a Frazier shuffle pass. Then Tommy kept it himself and rolled to the 1. The next play, Amon took a pair of buffs with him as he bowled his way into the end zone to put NU back up by a touchdown. A minute and 5 seconds later, the Huskers struck again. First, the Blackshirts forced Colorado 3 and out, providing excellent field position. The offense then struck quickly with another one-play drive.
Tommy throws the ball down the right side. Plesser Johnson. It's complete inside the 25, the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5. It's a touchdown! Touchdown! Touchdown, Plesser Johnson!
In the second quarter, Colorado mounted a 15-play drive that ended with a fumble caused by Ryan Terwilliger. But the ball took a buff bounce into the arms of Heath Irwin, who recovered for the touchdown to make it 21-14. NU answered back on its next possession with a 72-yard scoring march. First, it was Frazier to Mark Gilman for 26 yards. Then Tommy came up with one of the most spectacular plays of his spectacular career.
Tommy under center on first down, fakes the stretch play, sets up to throw. He is going to throw the ball complete to Amon Green inside the 30, 25, got a block. 25, 15, inside the 10-yard line, Amon Green.
The drive ended with a 25-yard field goal by Chris Brown to boost the Husker lead to 10. After a CU punt, Frazier led the Huskers on a classic march down the field in the final moments of the second quarter. In all, Tommy completed 4 of 6 passes on the drive and also picked up 11 key yards on a quarterback draw. Then with 10 seconds left in the half, he fired into the end zone and found John Bedwell, who made a great catch for the touchdown. NU led by 17 at the half, 31-14. Colorado did score on its first possession of the second half to pull within 10 of the Huskers. But again, Nebraska responded. This time with a time-consuming 69-yard drive. And again, Chris Brown applied the finishing touches with a perfect field goal. The Husker defense then set up yet another score for the offense. Grant Wistrom hit Hessler as he released the ball, which floated into the hands of Doug Coleman, who was there for the interception. That turnover led to Brown's third field goal, this one from 37 yards out.
Going into an environment like that with such a hostile crowd and going in and kicking some pretty pressure-packed kicks definitely helped me, helped my confidence a whole lot. I feel like I could go back 55, 60 yards and split the uprights even then, too.
Trailing 37-21, Colorado would get the ball just twice more in the game. And each time the Blackshirts came up with the big plays to stop the Bucks. The offense, meanwhile, put the final touches on a most impressive victory with a 12-play, 74-yard drive midway through the final quarter that saw Tommy Frazier at his best. After leading the Huskers down the field, Tommy took it in himself to make the final score Nebraska 44, Colorado 21.
Last year I missed that game, the one I really wanted to play in. But being able to go out this year and perform the way I did against a top 10 team on national TV, it was just something that I always dreamed of.
The following day, both the AP and coaches polls rewarded the Huskers for their impressive win at Colorado by voting Nebraska the #1 football team in the nation.
I guess the game against Colorado really showed people, the voters, that Nebraska was the best team, because we went 2 weeks in a row playing top 10 opponents and beat them soundly. And if that didn't impress anyone, then I guess it never would.
After their weekend in the Rockies, the defending national champions were back home at the top of the rankings. And unfortunately for Iowa State, back home in Lincoln, where another sellout crowd was on hand to see a Nebraska team that was beginning to make its case as the best in Husker history. By the time the Big Red was done blowing away the Cyclones, it would be hard to argue that there was one better. The points were driven home early and often as Nebraska built a 14-0 lead before Iowa State even touched the ball. First, it was Tommy Frazier scoring on the game's opening drive to give NU the lead. Then the Big Red got a big break that all but broke the Cyclones. On the ensuing kickoff, Chris Brown's unintentional onside kick was recovered by John Bedrell, putting NU in business, and Iowa State in trouble. The drive that followed marked the return of Lawrence Phillips to the Husker lineup. But it was Amon Green who capped the 11-play march by taking a shovel pass from Frazier into the end zone for the touchdown. One of the most dominant performances in school history was well underway.
We came down and just blasted them real good. And then even their coach was amazed. He couldn't say anything. The team was so sound, I think, offensively and defensively. And, I think we all put it together that day.
When Iowa State finally took possession midway through the first quarter, all eyes were fixed on Cyclone tailback Troy Davis. Among those who had sights set on the nation's leading rusher were the Blackshirts, who zeroed in the entire day and made it a long one for ISU's Heisman candidate.
Yeah, we took a special challenge because of he came in here and he said, he was going to win the Heisman on us and make us forget about Tommy. So we thought that we show him, we got a good defense and he wasn't going to run all over us.
While the Blackshirts were holding Davis well below his average, his Husker counterpart was stealing the show. Green would score twice more in the first half. First on a hard-fought 17-yard run. Then on a 26-yard trip through the Cyclone defense that made it 28-7. By the end of the day, Green had tied his career high with 176 yards rushing on just 12 carries to go with his 4 touchdowns. All while running behind an offensive line that cranked out 624 yards on the ground, the second best mark all time at NU.
It was real important for us to go out and have a good offensive day and keep the ball away from their offense that they run so much. So, the offensive line done a great job, and, we just keep wanting to get better and better.
There was no letdown and there was no letting up on the Cyclones, either be it on offense or defense, where the Blackshirts continued to contain the Clones. Meanwhile, Tommy Frazier and company kept right on rolling. It was late in the second quarter when Frazier strengthened his own Heisman candidacy with a perfect pass to Reggie Ball that made it 35-7.
Goes long, he's got Reggie in the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! Touchdown!
The second half began much like the first. A special teams recovery set the Huskers up in ISU territory. While the Big Red did give up a little ground when Jeff Makovica's run around left end, make that right end, no left end, ended in retreat. But Nebraska more than rebounded when Frazier and Green hooked up on another shovel pass that picked up 16 yards to the 1. Frazier hopped in the rest of the way, and Nebraska led 45-7. After another thunderous stand by the Blackshirts, the Husker offense struck like lightning.
Come on to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, left sideline 45. He may go 30, 25, 20. He's going to go for the touchdown, touchdown, touchdown.
Later in the third, Lawrence Phillips ran it in from 13 yards out for a touchdown that produced the 10,000th point of the Tom Osborne era at NU. Clinton Childs followed that up with a 13-yard run of his own that gave the Big Red a big 66-7 lead. For Nebraska, it was a day that saw everyone get in on the act. Everyone, that is, except Husker punter Jesse Cush, who saw his only action of the day in pregame warm-ups.
Well, I guess that's good if games haven't been decided by the punting yet. But if there comes a time when we need some big punts, I hope I'm ready.
At the end of the day, #1 Nebraska had secured the school's 27th consecutive 9-win season with a dominating 73-14 win. But even at 9-0, the Huskers still had plenty of business to take care of. With 2 games left, they were still 2 wins away from what they wanted most. Another shot at the national championship.
We have progressed, game by game. I think we're doing a great job by gelling together. But I said we should really hit our peak around, these next few games, because this is going to tell the tale.
For the third time in 4 weeks, Nebraska faced a top 10 opponent as the Big Red traveled to Lawrence for a border battle with 10th-ranked Kansas. A capacity crowd of over 50,000 was on hand. But when the Huskers took the field in enemy territory, they saw an amazing sight. Half the crowd was wearing red.
They don't got no home field advantage. Look at all the red in the stands today now.
Down in Kansas, it was like it was our field, because it seemed like when we looked up in the stands, we had more fans than they did. So, all of our fans going down, we kind of claimed the field as our own.
Nobody beats us in our house, baby. You damn right. Look at it all, baby. Look at it. This is our house. Unbelievable. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
We're a away game, and I think we had more Nebraska fans than they had Kansas fans. It was just incredible. You look up in the stands and you see red, and it really gets us excited.
And the Huskers gave the fans who traveled to Lawrence plenty to cheer about. 6 minutes into the game, the NU special teams seized the early momentum on Jesse Cush's booming punt.
Isaac Bird backs up, takes it to the 15, fumbles the football. Nebraska's on top of the ball, squirts loose into the end zone. Nebraska covers the football. On top of the football for a touchdown.
If you win the special teams, as Coach always says, it's 10, 14 points extra a game, and I think the Kansas game was a big factor, and the special teams was a big factor in us winning.
The Husker defense, as usual, was also a big factor. The Jayhawks came into the game with one of the nation's top ground attacks, but managed a mere 72 yards rushing against the Blackshirts. On KU's third possession of the game, Jared Tomich stripped the ball from June Henley, and Tony Veland recovered at the 20-yard line. It would take the Huskers just 3 plays to score on a drive in which Tommy Frazier again showed why he was the front runner in the race for the Heisman.
Option right, Tommy on the keep. He cuts back inside the 25, inside the 20. Great move, another one. Inside the 15, the 10. Frazier inside the 5 to the 1-yard line.
Tommy followed his fellow seniors Steve Ott and Aaron Graham into the end zone on the next play as NU moved in front 14-0. Kansas got on the board early in the second quarter with a field goal. And then later in the period, the Jayhawks were again on the move. But Tyrone Williams snagged an interception which halted the drive.
I haven't had many opportunities to get interceptions, but I finally got me one. Our secondary, we stepped up to every challenge. Florida State, Miami, we've always faced those challenges and done well. So I expect our secondary to continue doing that in the future.
The half ended with Nebraska in front 14-3. But the Huskers weren't totally satisfied with their play.
We played good the first half, but not what we wanted to, and we all, thought to ourselves, we got to pull together and, let's take control of this game, and, that's what happened when we came out in the second half.
Nebraska's second half dominance began with the third quarter kickoff as Damon Benning returned the ball 42 yards to give the team excellent field position. From there, NU ground out an 8-play, 58-yard drive highlighted by Amon Green's 15-yard run and a pair of nifty catches by Clester Johnson that totaled 30 yards. The Huskers marched to the end zone, ended with Vershawn Jackson scoring his first career touchdown. The Husker defense, meanwhile, was really rocking in the second half. Senior co-captain Phil Ellis, who missed 4 games due to a broken foot, was back at full speed and showed that he was still one of the league's top backers as he picked off his first career interception.
Getting that interception, it was real exciting for me. It's my first one, and I never thought I'd be getting one. All the linebackers were getting them this year except me, and I think I am back.
Ellis's interception triggered yet another touchdown drive. Tommy Frazier, who rushed for 99 yards in the game, decided against the pass and headed upfield for a 28-yard pickup. With his offensive line paving the way, Lawrence Phillips took it the rest of the way with consecutive carries that resulted in the Huskers' 4th touchdown of the game. Just a minute into the 4th quarter, Nebraska struck for touchdown number 5. Lawrence Phillips was regaining his familiar form, while Tommy Frazier continued his assault on the NU record books as he became the Huskers' all-time leader in total offense, breaking a 24-year-old record set by Jerry Taggy. The final exclamation point of the game was provided by what was becoming the Huskers' high-scoring defense.
Picked off by Nebraska to return 20, 25, 30. Left sideline, Mike Pullman, 50, the 40, the 30. Mike Pullman may go all the way to the 20, the 15. He's going to go. Mike Pullman, touchdown.
41-3. Nebraska had dominated 10th-ranked Kansas. The Huskers' stretch against top 10 teams was over, and on all 3 occasions, top-ranked Nebraska won by at least 3 touchdowns.
When you play the number 10 team in the country and they don't get in the end zone, that's a good accomplishment.
The Kansas game showed why Nebraska was the number 1 team in the country. And it also showed why the Huskers have the number 1 fans in the nation as well.
I always knew that the fans were really important, but I never knew how dedicated they were, and I really found out this last game against Kansas. I mean, whenever you go to somebody else's home and you see more of your fans there than their fans, that tells you something.
Of course, when it comes to Big Red football, Husker fans can't ever get too much of a good thing.
We went to Oklahoma State, I went to Colorado, and you feel like you're at home when you travel away because of all the red that's there. It's great.
The fans follow them everywhere. No matter where they go, they'll be there, and we'll win.
I think we're kind of outnumbering the Kansas fans myself, and I think that Nebraska has a great following.
Whether on the road or at home, Nebraska enjoys a loyal following second to none. For the past 33 consecutive years, Husker fans have sold out Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, a streak that adds up to an incredible 208 consecutive sellouts, an ongoing NCAA record.
Oh, I've been coming here forever. Since 55.
It all comes down to one simple fact. Husker fans are simply the best.
In my opinion, I don't think there's any other program in the nation that has the kind of support and loyalty from the fans that we have here in Nebraska. And, in 10, 20 years from now, I'll still be telling people what it was like to play for Nebraska and the experience of being a Husker.
Yeah, there's without a doubt no place that has better fans in Nebraska. And the support that they give us is so tremendous. They're the greatest fans in the world.
With the new Big 12 Conference waiting on the horizon, the end of the 1995 regular season also marked the end of an era, as Nebraska and Oklahoma met for the final time in Big 8 play. After 75 years of excellence in college football, the league's 2 most dominant teams got together for one final shootout as season-ending rivals. The game also marked the final appearance at Memorial Stadium for 21 Huskers, who made up the most successful senior class in school history. Introduced one by one, They took to the field with their 5th straight conference crown already in place, and their goal of a 2nd national title clearly in reach. As had been the case so often throughout history, Oklahoma would be the Big Red's final battle. The Huskers went about gaining the upper hand in workmanlike fashion on the game's opening drive. NU's rushing combination of Amon Green and Lawrence Phillips set up the game's first score. A 31-yard Chris Brown field goal that made it 3-0 with 4 minutes gone by. It would be all the points Nebraska would need. This was a day that belonged to the defense that began its all-out attack on the Sooners' first play from scrimmage.
Reverse to the left side, and they got it covered. A loss back to the 15-yard line. Grant Wistrom all over P.J. Mills.
4 plays later, Jamel Williams intercepted an Eric Moore pass and raced 36 yards to the end zone for a touchdown and a 10-0 first quarter lead. Throughout the day, it was the spirited play of the Blackshirts that dominated in the style indicative of a #1 team. Punishing tackles by Jared Tomich and company sent a message that after 10 games, this was the kind of defense that wins championships.
Yeah, it was a good game to play, you know, against Oklahoma. It's always a big rivalry here in Nebraska and playing at home in front of the crowd for the last time during the year. It was really fun to come out and play as well as we did.
Meanwhile, the Sooner defense was unable to keep the Huskers from scoring again before halftime. With under a minute left, Frazier marched his team on a quick drive through OU territory. An old-fashioned Lawrence Phillips gallop for 26 yards got the Huskers close enough for Chris Brown, who gave NU a 13-0 halftime lead. That lead extended to 20 in quarter number 3, when the high-scoring Husker defense, that's right, the defense, put it in the end zone again.
Here comes Tony Veland, the 40, the 35. Tony Veland's going to go all the way. Touchdown! Touchdown! Touchdown!
Thomas got good penetration. He punched the ball out. The ball bounced right to me. Saw nothing but field. I was just thinking not to get caught. Just make sure I didn't caught to get to the end zone.
Oklahoma's offense was simply no match for the Husker D. Not on the scoreboard, and certainly not at the line of scrimmage, where OU managed just 51 yards rushing on the day. Meanwhile, the NU offense was beginning to flex its muscle. And after Brown hit his 3rd field goal, Frazier connected with John Bedrell on a 38-yard scoring strike in the 4th quarter that made it 30-0. The finishing touches on the game and the regular season were provided in the final minute by Joel Makovica, whose never-say-die 17-yard touchdown run exemplified the heart of the '95 Huskers.
After it was over, everybody was saying it was a great run and things like that. And after the fact, seeing it on ESPN and things like that just made it kind of exciting.
Moments later, it was over. Nebraska 37, Oklahoma nothing. They had done it. The final challenge of the '95 regular season had been conquered with a shutout. As the Huskers headed to the locker room, they did so knowing that they were headed to Tempe.
We got to be at the top of our game when we hit that game. Let's make sure we win it, go out 12-0, something hardly anybody's done in the history of football, winning that many games in that length of time. So congratulations, and you've done a great job.
About 5 straight, Big Eight!
They were unbeaten at 11-0. They were winners of 5 consecutive Big 8 titles. And now, the Nebraska Cornhuskers were going to the Fiesta Bowl to play for another national championship.
Tostitos Fiesta Bowl! Party! Yeah, baby! Back to back!
A job well done. It was business as usual. The 1995 season of Nebraska football was now in the books. 11 chapters, each one a little different. the ending the same. All authored by the man who for the past 23 years has rewritten the standards of excellence for his profession. Standards of consistency, of character, and of winning that have made Tom Osborne one of the most respected leaders in college football. The win over Oklahoma was his 230th career victory as the Huskers head coach, giving him an incredible average of 10 wins per season, an accomplishment unparalleled in the history of the game.
I've said many times I've never won a game. You know, you can't win a game standing over on the sideline, and we've got an excellent organization here. Have great support from the people in the state. I've always had a great staff, and then we've always had great work ethic among the players.
If football is the ultimate team game, then Tom Osborne could be considered its ultimate team player. As a coach, he selflessly passes the credit for the program's success to the people around him, especially to his players. But those who have learned about the sport of football and about the game of life under his tutelage know that it is their coach who stands at the source of Nebraska's success.
Coach Osborne is like a father figure for everybody down here, and you know, everyone looks up to him. He's good for every word that he says to you. You know, that's what keeps a lot of the players around here going. They just feel that, not that they owe him something, but you know, just that they appreciate, you know, the type of things that he'll go out on a limb and do for us. And I mean, everyone wants to just play hard every game for Coach Osborne and the rest of the coaching staff because of the way that they hold their words.
It's been pretty remarkable playing for Coach Osborne. I don't think there's a more honest man. I don't think there's a more deserving coach of the success that he's had this past years. And it's been a great honor for me just playing for him, getting to know the guy, and to know that he really cares for his players.
You know, he's like a father to me, basically. Everything he's done for me. I mean, I love the guy. I'd do anything for him. And, you know, what he's done for me and what he's done for this program, the state, you know, the people. It's just, I mean, he's one of the greatest men I know.
Winning a national title is never easy. Defending one is even tougher. The road taken by Tom Osborne and his Huskers through the 1995 regular season was far from smooth. But now the Huskers are poised to take the final step on this unforgettable journey.
We're going to remain focused through this month, and I'm positive we're not going to have any type of letdowns in our work ethic and what we've been doing to put ourselves in the position we're in.
We have a goal. We set it early in the season, and we're going to finish that goal, and I don't think anything's going to stop that. I think a lot of guys remember last year what we went through and how we prepared for that. I think that's going to carry over this year.
For the Nebraska football team, this was not a campaign to rest on the laurels of past history. No, this was a team of players, coaches, and fans who were determined to make history. After all, it had been 40 years since a college football team recorded back-to-back, undefeated and untied national championship seasons. As the sun set on 1995, the Huskers found themselves right back where they started the new year, right back where they belonged. With the national title a win away, Nebraska was unbeaten, ranked #1, and adding to the legacy of its decade of dominance.